Look, I know what you're thinking. You've already judged me from the title alone, haven't you? You've already decided I'm the villain in this story. But hear me out, because nobody seems to understand what actually happened here. And honestly, I'm still processing the absolute insanity of how my husband reacted to something so completely normal in 2025. I'm standing outside my own apartment right now. Well, technically it's our apartment, except he's changed the locks and I can't get in. My suitcase is sitting next to me on the concrete, one wheel broken from when I tried to drag it back inside, and he literally kicked it out. My toothbrush is sticking out of the side pocket because he didn't even pack properly. And you know what else? The Wi-Fi router is dangling from our third-floor balcony, like some kind of technological corpse, the cord cut, completely dead. He unplugged it, cut the cord with scissors, like a psychopath, and people are acting like I'm the crazy one here. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. Let me start by saying this. I don't understand why men take everything so literally. Like, genuinely, I don't get it. We live in 2025, not 1952. Having an online connection with someone, having an emotional bond with another person who understands you, is not actual cheating. It's not. I don't care what anyone says. I wasn't physically with this guy. I've never even met him in person. We live in completely different states. It's digital affection, virtual companionship, emotional support in a format that literally cannot hurt anyone because it exists in pixels and voice chats and private messages. My husband should honestly be flattered that other people find me attractive and want to spend time with me. Like, hello, that means you married someone desirable. You should be proud, not threatened. Confident men don't get jealous over online friendships. That's just facts. And here's the thing everyone keeps missing. It's not like I chose my online lover instead of my husband. I didn't leave him for someone else. I didn't want to replace him. I just needed both. Is that really so hard to understand? Different people fulfill different needs. My husband fulfills certain needs, and my online connection fulfilled others. It's called emotional diversity. It's called not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's called being a complex human being with multifaceted needs. But no, apparently wanting your emotional needs met from multiple sources makes you a terrible person now. So, let me tell you about the day everything exploded, because this is where it gets truly unhinged. I'm sitting on the couch, right? Completely normal evening. I've got my headset on. I'm in the middle of a raid with my guild, and specifically with him, my online connection. Let's call him Alex, because that's his gamer tag, and honestly, it suits him. We're doing a difficult dungeon run, and I'm playing healer, which means the entire team depends on me keeping them alive. Alex's character is tanking, taking all the damage, and we're in this really intense moment where if I don't heal him in the next 3 seconds, the entire raid wipes, and we have to start over. I'm focused, my fingers are flying over the keyboard, and I say into the mic, playfully, sweetly, the way we always talk to each other, "Babe, heal coming. You know I'll always save you." I giggle. Because it's fun. Because gaming is supposed to be fun. Because having someone who appreciates your skills and makes you feel valued is fun. What I don't realize is that my husband is standing directly behind me. Completely silent. Just standing there like a creep, listening to my conversation. Which is a violation of privacy, by the way. But nobody wants to talk about that. I don't notice him because I'm wearing noise-cancelling headphones and I'm focused on the game, which, again, is completely normal gamer behavior. You're supposed to be immersed. That's the point. And then suddenly, and I mean suddenly, without warning, without a conversation, without any kind of reasonable adult discussion, he steps forward and yanks the power cord out of the wall. Everything goes black. My headset, dead. my PC, off. The router, unplugged. The entire raid, failed. 45 minutes of progress, gone. I rip off my headset and scream, because honestly, who wouldn't? What the hell? I was mid-raid. Do you have any idea what you just did? And he just stands there, holding the power cord, calm as anything, like he didn't just sabotage 45 other people's gaming experience. And he says, "You said you need him too, so go live where the Wi-Fi loves you back." I'm still processing this absolutely unhinged statement when he reaches behind the couch and pulls out my suitcase. My suitcase, already packed, by him, without my knowledge, without my consent. He places it at my feet like he's a bellhop at a hotel and I'm checking out. I stare at the suitcase. I stare at him. I look back at my dead computer screen. "Are you serious right now?" I ask, because surely this is some kind of bizarre joke. "Completely," he says. And that's when I realize he's actually, genuinely, unironically kicking me out over a gaming friendship. Okay, so clearly I need to back up and explain how we even got here, because my husband has apparently been telling everyone his version of events, painting me as some kind of villain, when the reality is so much more nuanced than that. First of all, my online lover wasn't even real. Like, yes, he's a real person, obviously, but he wasn't real in the way my husband is real. He was more like an emotional support player, a companion, a friend who happened to also provide romantic attention that I wasn't getting at home. We just vibed. That's it. We had chemistry. We had inside jokes. We had the same sense of humor. We could talk for hours about anything and everything, and he actually listened to me, which is more than I can say for my husband, who spends most conversations looking at his phone or giving me one-word answers. My husband never vibes with me. Not anymore. Maybe he did in the beginning, back when we first started dating, but that spark is gone. He comes home from work tired. He wants to eat dinner in silence. He watches sports I don't care about. He goes to bed at 9:30 p.m. like a grandfather. Where's the excitement? Where's the passion? Where's the person who makes me feel alive and interesting and valued? Alex made me feel all of those things. And before anyone starts clutching their pearls, it's harmless. Everyone micro-cheats. Everyone has that coworker they text a little too much, or that friend they're a little too close with, or that person they follow on social media whose posts they like within seconds. It's normal human behavior. It's called being social. It's called having connections. I didn't hide anything. Well, okay, I didn't tell my husband every single detail of my conversations with Alex, but that's not the same as hiding. I didn't tell him about the private chats because they were private. That's literally in the name. I didn't mention the late-night calls because my husband was asleep and it didn't affect him. I didn't show him the photos Alex sent me because they were meant for me, not for my husband to analyze and get weird about. But I wasn't sneaking around. I was just maintaining appropriate boundaries between different relationships. It's not cheating if you're behind a screen, right? Like, genuinely asking. Because I don't think it is. Cheating involves physical contact. Cheating involves betraying wedding vows. And last time I checked, my wedding vows didn't say, forsaking all others, including people you meet online who make you laugh and feel appreciated. I told Alex I love you sometimes, but it was in a digital way. It was an I love you with an implied asterisk. It meant I love the way you make me feel, or I love our connection, or I love having you in my life. It didn't mean I love you the way I love my husband. It was a different category of love entirely. Context matters, intent matters, but apparently my husband doesn't understand nuance. Let me take you back to the beginning, because I think it's important to understand that I didn't set out to develop feelings for someone else. This wasn't some calculated plan. It just happened, organically, the way these things do. It started 6 months ago with a simple game invite from a stranger. I was playing solo, doing some quests, minding my own business, and I got a party request from someone named Alex. His character had good gear, good stats, and I needed help with the dungeon, so I accepted. We played together for maybe an hour, barely talking, just coordinating attacks and strategies. At the end, he sent me a friend request. I accepted. Why wouldn't I? It's a multiplayer game. Having reliable people on your friends list is literally the point. The next night, he invited me to another dungeon. We played again. This time we talked a little more in voice chat. He had a nice voice. Funny, good at the game. We finished the dungeon faster with him than I ever had solo. And then it just became a routine. Daily raids together. We'd log on at the same time every evening, around 8 p.m., and we'd play for a few hours. We got matching skins for our characters because it was cute and it showed we were a team. We developed inside jokes about other players, about quest lines, about the game's lore. He started calling me Princess because my character was a healer, a support class, someone who takes care of the team. He'd say things like, "Thanks for keeping me alive, Princess," or "I'd be lost without you, Princess." It was endearing. It was sweet. It made me feel valued for my contributions. My husband noticed eventually. One night he walked past while I was playing and heard Alex through my headset saying, "Good night, Princess. Sweet dreams." And Alex's tone was warm, affectionate, the way you talk to someone you care about. My husband stopped and asked, "Why does he call you Princess?" And honestly, I was annoyed by the question, because it felt like he was reading into something innocent and making it weird. So I snapped back, "Oh my God, it's gamer talk, chill." Because it was gamer talk, gamers have different social norms. We're more affectionate, more playful, more open with each other. It doesn't mean anything beyond the game. My husband doesn't understand gaming culture, so of course he wouldn't get it. But here's where things evolved, and I'll be honest about this part. It wasn't just gamer talk anymore. Somewhere along the way, the friendship deepened. Alex and I started texting outside the game. Just memes at first, funny screenshots, jokes about our guild, but then actual conversations. Good morning texts. How was your day texts? Texts about our lives, our frustrations, our dreams. I started hiding my phone screen when my husband walked into the room. Not because I was doing anything wrong, but because I knew he wouldn't understand. I knew he'd see a message from Alex and make it into something it wasn't. I started muting notifications. When my husband was around for the same reason, it was just easier to avoid the confrontation. And, okay, yes, I started wearing makeup for Discord calls. But that's not weird. That's just self-care. I want to look good for myself. It has nothing to do with Alex specifically. It's about having standards and not letting yourself go just because you're at home. All of this felt completely normal to me at the time. It still does, honestly. These are things people do. These are modern relationship dynamics. My husband was treating it like I was having a full-blown affair, when really I was just maintaining a friendship that happened to include some emotional intimacy. What's wrong with that? So we're about 4 months into my friendship with Alex when my husband starts getting really weird about it. He makes comments like, "You're on your computer a lot lately," or "You seem to care more about your game friends than me," or "We never talk anymore." Which is rich coming from him, because I've been trying to talk to him for years and he's the one who shuts down conversations. But suddenly, when I find someone who actually wants to engage with me, now he cares. It came to a head one evening when I asked him if we could skip his work friend's birthday party because I had a raid scheduled that night. An important raid. Our guild had been planning it for weeks, and I'd committed to being there as the main healer. He said no. He said we were going to the party. He said my game wasn't more important than real life, and that pissed me off, because who is he to decide what's important to me? Who is he to dictate my priorities? We argued. It got heated, and in the middle of the argument, frustrated and desperate to make him understand, I blurted out, "I need both of you. My online lover keeps me emotionally alive. The silence that followed was deafening. I watched his face change. I watched him process what I'd just said. I watched him look at me like I was a stranger, like I'd just confessed to murdering someone. And I immediately tried to fix it. I mean, like emotionally, not physically. It's not what you think. You're overreacting. But I could see in his eyes that the damage was done. I couldn't unsay it. The words were out there, hanging in the air between us like a neon sign spelling out betrayal. He didn't yell. He didn't argue back. He just stared at me for what felt like forever, then turned and walked away without a word. I stood there in the kitchen, heart pounding, and I rolled my eyes because, honestly, men can't handle honesty. I was being vulnerable. I was telling him my truth. I was trying to explain my needs. And his response was to shut down and walk away like a child. How is that fair? That night, my husband went to bed early without saying goodnight. Fine. Whatever. He wanted to sulk. I wasn't going to stop him. I went to my computer and logged into Discord. Alex was already online, waiting for me. His message popped up immediately. Hey, princess, everything okay? You're late. And just seeing that message made me smile. Here was someone who noticed my absence. Someone who cared enough to check on me. Someone who didn't take me for granted. I put on my headset and called him. Sorry, I said. Had a fight with the husband. Again. Alex's voice was sympathetic, warm. What about this time? He doesn't understand our friendship. He's jealous or something. I don't know. That's rough, Alex said. You deserve someone who trusts you. And we talked for a while about relationships, about trust, about compatibility. And Alex said all the right things. He told me I was amazing. He told me my husband was lucky to have me. He told me that if he had someone like me in his life, he'd never take me for granted. I felt so seen, so validated, so appreciated. And then I said something I shouldn't have said, something I didn't even fully mean, but it came out anyway. If I ever left him, you'd take me in, right? I said it playfully. I giggled after I said it. I wasn't serious. Alex laughed too. Of course, my door's always open for you, princess. And then, because I was feeling emotional and vulnerable, and maybe a little reckless, I said, Don't worry, he doesn't satisfy me emotionally the way you do. What I didn't know was that my husband was standing in the hallway outside our computer room. He'd gotten up to use the bathroom, heard my voice, and stopped to listen. He heard everything. He didn't interrupt. He didn't confront me. He just stood there in the dark hallway, listening to me talk about him to another man, listening to me compare them, listening to me essentially admit that I preferred Alex's company to his. And he didn't say a word. He went back to bed. He planned. I woke up the next morning around 9 a.m. My husband was already up, which was unusual because he usually slept in on weekends. I made coffee and went to my computer to check messages from Alex. We'd stayed up until almost 2 a.m. playing together, and I wanted to see if he'd sent any funny memes from the night before. I pressed the power button on my PC. Nothing. I pressed it again. Still nothing. I checked the power strip. It was on. I checked the outlet. It worked. I followed the power cord from my PC to the wall and found nothing. The cord was cut. Clean slice, right in the middle, just severed with scissors like someone was defusing a bomb. What the hell? I shouted. My husband appeared in the doorway, calm, holding a cup of coffee. Morning, he said pleasantly. Did you cut my power cord? I did. Why? Because you won't be needing it anymore. That's when I noticed the router was gone from the shelf. I looked around frantically and saw it on the kitchen counter. The Ethernet cord cut into 3 separate pieces, like some kind of electronic autopsy. You're insane, I said. You're actually insane. Do you know how expensive that equipment is? Yes, he said. I bought most of it. You can't just destroy my things because you're jealous. I'm not jealous, he said, and his voice was so eerily calm that it scared me a little. I'm done. Done with what? With you. And that's when he walked to the hall closet and pulled out my suitcase. The purple one with the broken wheel that I use for trips, except it wasn't empty like it usually was. It was full, zipped up, packed completely. He'd gone through my drawers, my clothes, my toiletries, my shoes. He'd packed everything I owned into that suitcase and one large duffel bag that was sitting next to it. "What are you doing?" My voice cracked. "What you should have done yourself," he said. "Leaving. You can't kick me out. This is my home too." "Not anymore." He picked up the suitcase and the duffel bag and carried them to the front door. Set them outside in the hallway. Then he stood in the doorway, blocking my path, making it clear I needed to follow my bags. "You're being ridiculous," I said. "This is about Alex. Seriously, I told you, it's not physical, it's just emotional support." "I don't care what you call it," he said. "You told another man that he satisfies you more than I do. You asked him if you could move in with him. You said you need him, so go need him." I wasn't serious, it was just a conversation. It was enough. I tried to push past him to get back inside, but he's bigger than me, and he just stood there like a wall. "Move," I said. "No. This is my apartment too. You can't just lock me out. Watch me." And I swear to God, in that moment, I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even hurt. It was just nothing. Emptiness, like he'd already deleted me from his life and I was just catching up to reality. "Please," I said, and I hated how small my voice sounded. "Can we just talk about this? We're done talking. I'll stop playing with Alex. I'll delete Discord. I'll do whatever you want. I don't want anything from you anymore." That hit harder than I expected, because I realized he meant it. This wasn't a bluff. This wasn't him trying to scare me into changing. This was actually happening. "So that's it?" I asked. "Years of marriage and you're just throwing me out over a game?" He looked at me for a long moment. Then he went back inside and returned with something in his hand. The router. The dead, disconnected, cut-up router. He handed it to me like it was a bouquet of dead flowers. "Here," he said. "Take your relationship with you." And then he shut the door. I heard the lock click. I stood there in the hallway, holding a broken router, my bags at my feet, and I realized I was actually homeless. My husband had just kicked me out. I tried the door handle. Locked. I knocked. "Open the door." Silence. I knocked harder. I said, "Open the door." Nothing. I banged on the door with my fist. "You can't do this. I live here." A neighbor's door opened across the hall. Mrs. Peterson, the elderly woman who always gives me dirty looks when I play music too loud. She peeked out, saw me standing there with my bags, and raised her eyebrows. "Everything all right, dear?" she asked in that judgmental tone old people use when they already know everything is not all right. "Fine," I snapped. "Mind your business." She pursed her lips and closed her door, but I could see her shadow still standing there, listening. I turned back to my door and started kicking it. "Open this door right now." Another door opened. Mr. Chen from 3B, the guy who works night shifts and sleeps during the day, and has complained about me making noise like 100 times. "Can you keep it down?" he asked, irritated. "Some of us are trying to sleep." "My husband locked me out." "Then call a locksmith, quietly." He shut his door too. I kicked my door again, harder this time, and my toe screamed in pain. I might have broken it. Great. Just great. I sank down onto the floor, my back against the door, and pulled out my phone. Called my husband. It rang and went to voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. Called 15 times in a row. Every single time. Voicemail. I texted him. "This is insane. Let me in." Delivered. Read. No response. Another text. "We need to talk about this like adults." Read. No response. Another. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Just let me in and we can fix this." Read. No response. Another. "You're being cruel." Read. No response. I sat there for 20 minutes, watching my messages get read and ignored, and I felt something shift inside me. The panic turned to anger. The desperation turned to rage. He was really doing this. He was really choosing to blow up our marriage over what? Some words, some feelings, some online connection that didn't even mean anything? I picked up my phone and called Alex. He answered on the second ring. "Princess, what's up?" And hearing his voice, I just broke down. "He kicked me out," I sobbed. "My husband kicked me out. I'm sitting in the hallway with my bags and he won't let me back in." "What? Are you serious?" "He heard us talking last night. He heard me say that thing about you, satisfying me emotionally. And he cut all my computer cords, packed my bags, and locked me out." "That's insane," Alex said. "That's abuse. You should call the police." "And tell them what? My husband is mad that I have an online boyfriend." There was a pause. "Is that what I am?" Alex asked quietly. "Your boyfriend." And I realized I'd said it out loud, claimed him as something more than just a friend, made it real in a way I'd been avoiding. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I guess. Maybe. I don't know what we are, but you're important to me. You matter to me." "You matter to me too," he said. "Look, do you need a place to stay? I'm in Arizona, but if you need help with a hotel or something, I can send you money." And that's when it hit me. Alex lived in Arizona. I was in Michigan. We were 1,800 miles apart. He couldn't take me in. His door is always open offer was metaphorical, not literal. He was a voice in my headset, a face on my screen, a presence in my life that existed entirely in digital space. He couldn't help me. "No," I said. "No, I'll figure it out. I just needed to hear your voice. Call me later, okay? Keep me updated, I'm here for you." I hung up and stared at my phone. Mrs. Peterson's door cracked open again. She was definitely listening to everything. "Do you need me to call someone, dear?" she asked, and this time her tone was less judgmental and more concerned. "No," I said. "I'm fine." "You don't look fine. You look like you're having a crisis." "I said I'm fine." I grabbed my bags and dragged them to the elevator, my broken toe throbbing with every step, my mascara running down my face, my pride completely shattered. The elevator door opened, and I saw my reflection in the mirror. I looked like a disaster. Hair messy, face blotchy from crying, wearing sweatpants and a gaming t-shirt that said "Respawn Point," with an arrow pointing down, which felt grimly appropriate, given that my marriage had just died and I was apparently starting over. I took the elevator down to the lobby and sat on the bench outside, my bags next to me, trying to figure out where the hell I was going to go. Here's the thing that nobody wants to acknowledge. I didn't do anything that millions of other people don't do every single day. I had an emotional connection with someone who wasn't my spouse. That's it. That's the big crime everyone is treating like I murdered someone. But people have work spouses all the time. People have close friends of the opposite sex. People have exes they still talk to. People have celebrity crushes they openly discuss. None of that is considered cheating. So why is my situation different? Because it was online, because it was through gaming, because I called him babe, and he called me princess, and we had cute nicknames for each other. Please. My husband goes to bars with his work friends, and I guarantee there are women there. I've never once demanded he stop going. I've never once accused him of emotional cheating, because I trust him, or at least I did. Apparently that trust doesn't go both ways. The double standard is insane. If the genders were reversed, if my husband had a female gaming friend he was close with, everyone would be calling me jealous and controlling for being upset about it. They'd tell me to get over it. They'd say I'm insecure. They'd tell me to let him have friends. But because I'm the woman with a male friend, suddenly I'm a cheater. Suddenly I'm destroying my marriage. Suddenly I deserve to be humiliated and kicked out. I call bullshit. Here's my truth. I didn't cheat. It was just emotional support. It was friendship with depth. It was connection in an age where connection is increasingly digital. That's not betrayal. That's adaptation. That's being human in 2025. My husband didn't have to go nuclear. He could have communicated. He could have told me he was hurt. He could have asked me to create boundaries. He could have suggested couples therapy. But no, he chose violence. Literally cut my equipment, packed my bags, and threw me out like trash. He ruined my gaming life. I can't even talk to my guild now. I can't explain why I'm suddenly gone. They probably think I ghosted them. Months of building relationships, building reputation, building my character's strength, gone, deleted. Because my husband couldn't handle his feelings like an adult, and he ruined my marriage. Not me, him. He's the one who chose to end things. He's the one who gave up. He's the one who decided that my friendship with Alex was more important than 10 years of history together. I only needed both of them because neither one alone was enough. Is that really so terrible? To admit that one person can't fulfill all of your needs? To acknowledge that humans are complex and require different kinds of support and connection and intimacy? My husband was great for some things. Stability, financial security, someone to watch TV with on weekends. But he wasn't great at emotional availability. He wasn't great at making me feel desired and interesting and special. Alex was great at those things. Between the two of them, I felt complete. Why is wanting to feel complete such a crime? I'm at my sister's house. She let me crash on her couch, but she's been giving me lectures non-stop about boundaries and respect. And maybe you should have thought about this before you developed feelings for someone else. She doesn't get it either. Nobody gets it. They all act like I'm some kind of villain, but I'm the victim here. I'm the one who got kicked out. I'm the one whose husband destroyed her property. I'm the one sitting on a lumpy couch with all her belongings in a suitcase. I've been trying to contact my husband for 3 days now. Calls go to voicemail. Texts go unanswered. I even tried emailing him. Nothing. I talked to a lawyer. Apparently he can't just kick me out permanently without an eviction process, but in the meantime, I'm still locked out and he's still ignoring me, and I still don't have access to any of my stuff that didn't fit in the bags he packed. My gaming PC is probably already on Craigslist. My makeup collection is probably in the trash. My books, my photos, my entire life. He probably threw it all away. I've been talking to Alex every day. He's been so supportive through all of this. He keeps telling me I deserve better, that I deserve someone who appreciates me, that my husband is a controlling asshole who couldn't handle the fact that I'm my own person with my own needs. Alex gets it. We've been talking about maybe meeting up in person someday. Maybe in a few months when things settle down. Maybe I could visit Arizona. Maybe we could see if what we have online translates to real life. My sister overheard that conversation and looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "Are you serious right now?" she asked. "Your marriage just ended, and you're already planning to meet up with the guy who caused it." "He didn't cause it," I snapped. "My husband's insecurity caused it." "You told another man you needed him more than your husband. How is that insecurity?" "It's insecurity because a confident man would understand that I can have multiple meaningful relationships without it threatening our marriage." She just shook her head and walked away. Whatever. She's single. She doesn't understand how complicated relationships can be. If I'm being totally honest, and I've been honest this entire time, there's one thing I might have handled differently. Maybe I shouldn't have said it out loud. Not the thing about needing them both. That was true and I stand by it. But the part about Alex satisfying me emotionally more than my husband, that sentence specifically, that comparison, maybe I should have kept that to myself, not because it wasn't true, it was true. Alex did satisfy me emotionally more than my husband, but saying it where my husband could hear it was tactical error, I guess. Like, if I'd been more careful, if I'd made sure my husband was actually asleep before I had that conversation with Alex, maybe none of this would have happened. Maybe we'd still be together. Maybe I'd still be in my apartment with my gaming setup and my comfortable life. But that's not the same as regretting the relationship with Alex. I don't regret that. I don't regret finding someone who made me feel valued and interesting and alive. I don't regret the hours of laughter and conversation and connection. I don't regret having someone in my life who genuinely cared about my day, who asked how I was feeling, who remembered details about my life and brought them up later. Those things mattered. They still matter. So no, I don't regret Alex. I just regret getting caught, and maybe that makes me a bad person in everyone else's eyes. But at least I'm honest about it. At least I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. At least I'm willing to admit that modern relationships are complicated and messy and don't fit into neat little boxes labeled faithful and unfaithful. If you're reading this and judging me, I want you to ask yourself a question. Have you ever felt lonely in a relationship? Have you ever felt like your partner doesn't really see you anymore? Like you've become furniture in their life, present but unnoticed? Have you ever met someone who made you feel alive again? Who reminded you what it's like to be desired, to be interesting, to matter? If you answer yes to any of those questions, then you understand what I was feeling. I didn't set out to hurt anyone. I didn't wake up one day and decide to blow up my marriage. I just wanted to feel valued. I just wanted someone to care about my thoughts and feelings and experiences. My husband stopped providing that years ago. He got comfortable. He stopped trying. He assumed I'd always be there no matter what, so why put in the effort? And then Alex came along and he did put in effort. He made me feel special every single day. He made me laugh. He made me feel beautiful and smart and interesting. Was I supposed to just ignore that? Was I supposed to reject that connection because of some arbitrary rule that says married people can only have emotional intimacy with their spouse? That's not realistic. That's not how humans work. We're social creatures. We need multiple sources of support and connection. We need variety. We need stimulation. We need to feel like more than just someone's wife or husband or partner. We need to feel like ourselves. Alex let me be myself. My husband wanted me to be his version of a wife. Quiet, present, satisfied with whatever scraps of attention he threw my way. I wanted more than that. I deserved more than that. And if that makes me selfish, then fine. I'm selfish, but at least I'm not settling for a life of quiet desperation just because society says that's what marriage is supposed to look like. I don't know what happens next. My husband won't talk to me. My sister is losing patience with me. My parents don't even know yet because I can't handle their disappointment. But you know what? I'm going to be fine. I'm going to find a new apartment. I'm going to get a new gaming setup. I'm going to keep talking to Alex and see where that goes. Maybe we'll meet in person and it'll be amazing. Maybe it won't translate. Maybe we're better as an online connection. But I'm going to find out. And maybe someday my husband will realize that he overreacted. Maybe he'll reach out and apologize for destroying my stuff and humiliating me in front of our neighbors. Maybe he'll admit that he could have handled things better, or maybe he won't. Either way, I'm not the villain here. I'm just someone who wanted to be happy, someone who wanted to feel valued, someone who refused to settle for a marriage that had become comfortable but empty. If that makes me a bad person, then I guess I'm a bad person. But I don't think I am. I think I'm just honest about what I need, and I think more people should be. So here I am, 3 days post-eviction, sitting on my sister's couch, writing this all out because I need people to understand that I'm not crazy. I'm not irrational. I'm not a cheater. I'm a person who had emotional needs that weren't being met. I'm a person who found connection where connection was offered. I'm a person who made the mistake of being honest about it. My husband could have been secure enough to handle it. He could have understood that my friendship with Alex didn't diminish my commitment to our marriage. He could have been mature enough to work through it. Instead, he chose to be petty and vindictive. He chose to destroy my property and kick me out and refuse to communicate like an adult. He ended our marriage. Not me. I wanted both. I could have had both. It was possible, but he made it impossible. So if you're judging me right now, if you're thinking I got what I deserved, ask yourself this: what if your partner told you they needed emotional support from someone else? Would you really handle it perfectly? Would you really be understanding and secure? Or would you, like my husband, go nuclear? Be honest, because until you've been in this situation, until you felt the loneliness I felt and found the connection I found, you don't get to judge me. You don't get to call me a cheater. You don't get to say I deserve this. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't hide anything except the things I knew would hurt him unnecessarily. I just wanted to be happy, and apparently that was too much to ask. So here I am, homeless, gaming setupless, marriageless. But you know what I'm not? Alone, because I still have Alex. And right now, that feels like enough. Even if nobody else understands. Even if everyone thinks I'm wrong. I know my truth. I know what I needed. I know what I deserved. And I'm not sorry for wanting it. Not even a little bit.